A Girl Called Summer by Lucy Lord. Read by Penelope Macdonald. She had thought of him as a brother. Once. She'd grown up on the beach, an only child, happy and free with loving hippie parents. She rarely wore shoes, and her overriding memories were of sunshine, kind faces and cheerful voices, laughing or singing along to her dad's acoustic guitar. Swimming in the sea, even in midwinter during storms and clean cold sun, was as natural to her as breathing. He was 3 years older, 8 to her 5 when he turned up on the beach, motherless but not an orphan. He always looked after her during the storms, racing her to safety or carrying her in his skinny arms to shelter under the rocks if the rain became too heavy. She had loved him for as long as she could remember. So it was only natural, when he started to look more like a man than a boy, that her young emotions had been stirred still further. She'd hated his first girlfriend, a dark-haired, dark-eyed girl who looked so different to her. It always seemed as though they were mocking her, as she tried to run after them across the sand, always several steps behind, despite her legs, which everybody said were long for her age. When she was 15, he started to look at her differently. She could still remember how tender he was the night he had given her what she'd been aching for. Naturally, it was on the beach. For nearly a year they were as happy as young lovers could be. Kissing, hidden behind sandy dunes, laughing till they could laugh no more, the exquisite sun bathing their exquisite bodies in heat and light and lust. They were perfect for each other, everybody said so. Until that dark, ugly night, when her innocence was shattered forever. Chapter 1. "Are we completely bloody insane?" asked Bella, as the jeep lurched along the uneven dirt track that led to their new home. It was pitch black outside, and raining, the downpour so heavy that the water bounced right off the jeep's roof, sounding inside like a volley of gunfire. "Bit late to start thinking about that." Andy smiled at her and took one hand off the steering wheel to give her knee a reassuring squeeze. Bella looked anxiously over her shoulder to the back seat, where their daughter, Daisy, was sleeping soundly, utterly oblivious to the noise and bumpiness of the journey. Her heart swelled with love as she gazed at the perfect, untroubled little face, and she smiled too. Daisy had just turned 1, and her birthday, come farewell to England party, a pretty riotous affair, had been the last time they'd seen all their London friends. And it'd only been a week ago. "See," said Andy, "Daisy's completely unfazed by it all. Stop worrying. Everything's going to be fine." "Daisy's not fazed by anything." Bella smiled again. "And I'm not fazed really either. But it would have been nice not to have been arriving in the dark. Bloody Mon-Air." The plan had been to arrive shortly before sunset, but their flight from Gatwick had been delayed by 4 hours. "And bloody rain. This is meant to be Ibiza." It came out as a wail. "This is what we emigrated to escape from." "It's April, Bells. It's a freak storm. It'll pass. Now come on, old thing. Where's your sense of adventure? This is the beginning of a whole new chapter in our lives. It's meant to be exciting." "Less of the old, please." "But yeah, sorry. It is exciting." Bella used to be up for anything, but the responsibilities of motherhood had somewhat tamed her sense of adventure, which was probably just as well, considering some of the things she'd got up to in the past. "I can't wait to see Can Pedro again." Can Pedro was the 400-year-old finca that Andy and Bella had first laid eyes on the previous summer, their first holiday with little Daisy as a newborn. It was set in incredibly picturesque surroundings in the middle of nowhere, and they had fallen in love with it immediately. Such was its state of disrepair that when they'd idly asked a local estate agent how much she thought it was worth, the price had been so low that they'd realised they could actually afford to buy it if they sold Bella's tiny Notting Hill flat, which had soared in value in the years she'd lived there and was far too small for a couple with a baby.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?